Welcome everyone to a new episode of Let's Play the Netherlands in Geopolitical Simulator 3, Masters of the World. In this episode I will just continue the playthrough I started earlier, and I will now also focus a bit more on just keeping your country in balance. And with that I mean that we have now done an entire year of improving our country. And of course the economy has increased, we have had some inflation, and for counteracting this you can have two ways to actually keep your purchasing power good for the population. One of the ways that you can actually do that is by increasing governmental spending by the amount set by the inflation. Another way to actually do this is to increase the minimum wages for all the working classes. So that is also another way to actually decrease the amount of decrease the gap that occurs due to inflation purposes. So in this playthrough I will focus on that solely, and I will also just play along with the game. Now, compared to last time that I've already shown you, there was a war between Japan and Russia. And sadly, but true, I actually forgot to save the game prior to closing it, and therefore that was lost. So I actually went ahead and without recording, I tried to get to the same date as we left off last time. But this time there isn't any war occurring between Japan and Russia. So in that sense it's a bit inconsistent with last time, but there will likely be many more conflicts to come. Okay, that said, so what I said already is that we are going to try and improve our economy, but we also should keep our attention on the population itself, and that they are capable of actually purchasing all the goods that they need, all the food, for example, pay the rent, all these kind of obligations, that they can pay for that. Now, in order to do that, it's important to keep your economy on par with inflation rates and index, as to say, governmental spending and salaries. So with that, I would like to start doing that. So last year we had an average inflation rate of about 5%. That will go down this year again, just because inflation is counted on a yearly basis. It will increase over the year, then at the 1st of January it will be reset, and then it will start decreasing again, going back to zero. And adjustments will be made along the way. So now, as our economy grew with 10% and we had a 5% inflation rate, it's wise to actually start and improving the economy further by keeping wages on par with at least inflation level. Now, this is of course all still a bit politically colored in a way, because it is a, let's say, policy to actually do this. You can have, for example, let me put it like that. So you can have countries that are overspending on the governmental employees, so where governmental employees are paid quite highly, and you can have the option to just do nothing about it, and that will of course over time lower the amount of income of governmental employees compared to the public sector, to the private sector. So that is a thing that you can do. In the Netherlands, it's actually the case that governmental employees are paid quite highly, and therefore it might be interesting to actually not do anything about it. On the other hand, you also don't want people to become really dissatisfied by their salaries and start protesting along the way. You still have these associations and syndicates to actually keep track of, and they over time will actually want you to start spending a bit of money to improve the governmental improve the purchasing power of governmental employees. Now you can see that the police union is actually quite satisfied at the moment, so there is not really a need to actually do anything as of now. But I will start and try to increase the minimum wage, just on par with inflation rate. So to do that, we will go to work, I believe. Here you have, by the way, budget for all kinds of different, let's say, things that you can tackle. Mostly involved in employment. And here you can have in legislation, you can have the established minimum wage, established minimum solidarity allowance, these kind of things. So this is more social policies in a way. Labour Party and favorite policies. So let's just increase the minimum wage a bit. Now, as I said, from a competitive point of view, it is, of course, it can be a political stance to actually not do anything about this, which is perfectly fine. But I kind of like actually indexing it a bit. So according to my calculation, if we increase like 5%, we need to go to 1,312 euros a month, which will cost us a bit of money. But of course, it will also increase the salaries again back to or the purchasing power for the lowest classes. So it might be a smart thing to do. Well, we could try and do this. I don't know whether it will get accepted, to be honest. It is quite a steep increase. What we can try, but this is risky in a way, is negotiating with the syndicates about this. So let's choose the largest syndicate. It seems to be this one. And let's try to make an appointment. Well, they are kind of already hating me a bit. And that's just because of the taxation that we have done, the changes over there. So we have lowered lower class and middle class tax levels, but we've also lowered tax levels for the rich and the upper classes. And that, of course, is not held highly upon with labor organizations.
Cut the crap. I know you too well. You and your hypocrisy.
So this is not starting that well.
Really? A bit of good manners? Sure. Dark and strong, please.
Okay, let's now try to discuss or negotiate the minimum wage.
Very well. What kind of offer do you wish to make us?
And let's first offer them, let's go for a bit lower than the full 5%. Let's go for 1,300 euros.
Your offer is not very motivating.
Increase it a bit. 1,310 euros.
I don't mean to offend you, but your offer is very weak.
1,315.
Let's see. And what do you think of my counter proposal?
Okay, let's do 1,322.
Your proposition is interesting. We should come to an agreement.
1,324.
Very well. We accept your offer.
Okay, so they've accepted. That's good. What we can now try and do is actually increase. Yeah, maybe we can try and do the same trick with another organization. So we had it now at 1,324. Let's have a look whether that's possible. Whether we can.
Sure. Well, really.
Okay. So again, minimum
Very
salary.
well. What kind of offer do you wish to make us?
Let's start with 1,300 again.
I don't mean to offend you, but your offer is very weak.
Not that fast. 1,310.
Interesting. We're nearly there. Go on. I'll make another proposal. Shake on it. Your proposition is interesting. We should come to an agreement. Very well. We accept your offer.
Of course, now we are really getting our heads in the... we are really now promising a lot, even though we don't really know whether we are capable of delivering.
Sure. Well, really. Cut the crap. Very well. What kind of offer do you wish to make us? Interesting. We're nearly there. Go on. I'll make another proposal. Shake on it? Very well. We accept your offer.
Okay, so we have now agreed, let's say at least with the highest amount that we need to promise was 1324 euros. So that is actually what we will try to achieve. So we will go to work again, establish minimum wage. It's a lot that we are increasing it now, but let's go for it. Let's have a bit more room. 1325. I will make a televised appearance. There is not really anything we can do to aid this, because you cannot create reforms across multiple types of governmental spending. So you cannot combine, which is I think a bit strange, but you cannot, for example, combine in a single reform a minimum wage and a tax decrease. That's not possible. What you can do is within the entire work, within this entire system, you can of course combine multiple of these and then create a reform, but not together coupled with minimum wage with tax laws. At least it seems that everyone is in favor of passing this law. At least the social parties, the labor kind of parties, they are all in favor. Only my own party in this case and a further right, well, more to the extreme right party is slightly against, but they're not even that much against it. So another thing that we can now do, so we will make a televised appearance, but to even improve the situation further, we can try to actually negotiate with the various leaders about this law. Not that it will help now, because we kind of know already that it will be passed, but just to, let's go to here again, political parties, just to get it a bit more backing of all the parties. So first with our own party and with the coalition partner, which is this one, one of the socialist parties. And then it's also important to try and convince the center left. And perhaps the extreme right as well, if they want to, because they were mostly against, of course. Okay, let's have a look at the televised appearance.
I would like to announce the increase of the minimum wage so that workers with the lowest incomes are valued more regarding their daily, sometimes very difficult tasks. Our goal is that this increase of the purchasing power will play a pivotal boosting role and will be one of our growth engines of the future.
Indeed. So let's have a look. Of course, this is considered a very social policy, so that will help our approval rating and, of course, our standing with the various more social-orientated associations.
Your politics are on the right track. At last, the fatherland is ahead who tackles the problems head-on, and this is good for the troops' morale. Launch the attack, hold close your positions, the army is with you.
Okay, the first.
That's the way it is. And you, your family, your neighbors, are they okay?
Huh. That's not to be turned down. Thank you. Sure. Dark and strong, please. No problem. I intended to do so.
Okay, so he will now try to push it through, let's say.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Listen, I'm gonna take a while to... Sure. It's very kind of... I'd be happy to. No problem. I intended to do so. Sure. That's the way it is. I'd be happy to. No problem. I intended to do so. That's very kind of... Sure. I'd be happy to. I'm sorry, but we still disagree on some points.
So this is the one that really doesn't like the law. But yeah, we don't need him, so that's fine. Netherlands is a model country for the United Nations organization, according to this guy, the United Nations Secretary General, who warmly welcomes Frank Rutten's action. So you see that in general it is well received, that's good, so it will be passed. I'm not afraid of that. Here you have what we try to negotiate with them. So indeed our coalition partner in this case, which we also requested to vote in favor of the bill, is trying to push it forward. So that's a good sign. And now we should just await how the voting goes. So let's have a look when.
Our sportsmen are ready. But if I may, a few words of encouragement before the national team's departure would surely galvanize the troops. Do you agree?
Yeah. So these kind of events are also happening once in a while. And they are actually sporting events. If you get more medals than expected, it will also push your approval rating. And I think that in general it's a good thing to do. It doesn't cost a lot. Sometimes it can be a disappointing result, and then of course it will hit your or hurt your approval rating, but it's not like a huge deal or problem. Oh yeah, we were looking at when the voting starts. So I think we have to see that over here. So law in progress. It will be it has been proposed on. It will be voted on the 7th of February. So it's soon. And I'm pretty confident that it will get passed. I mean, nearly all the parties were in favor of the law. We can even try to boost it further. Let's talk to them as well. Though they kind of hate me, but I think that they will just pass it.
Cut the crap. I know you too well. You and your hypocrisy. Well, really? Please. No problem. I intended to do so.
Okay, so another terrorist attack apparently. Yeah. So bombing in Utrecht.
In a press release.
Okay. So there are 2 claims again. So one of the things that we also should do, by the way, is actually increase the spending on safety of the head of state. So I'll increase it by 1 more star. So that should be good enough. It will cost a lot. on a yearly basis. But yeah, it's important because you can have the moles, which we discussed in last episode as well. Those can try to kill you, which is of course not a beneficial thing because then will be game over. And to counteract this, it's important to keep your security on a high basis. Okay, so war again. Congo.
Fellow esteemed citizens, our current situation is critical. Faced with repeated provocations from this rogue state that is threatening both our country and the international community, I have made a conscious decision to declare war. We regret that diplomacy has failed. It is now up to our guns to speak for us, so that we can defend our homeland.
Just a week to go before the opening ceremony. Our athletes are very impatient and are looking forward to the beginning of the competition. The delegation is optimistic as to our chances of winning medals.
Okay, so that's a good sign. So let's have a look. With whom are they at war now? I fear it's Uganda. Yeah. It's also one of these conflicts that is usually between those two countries, Uganda and Congo. Yeah, so we have these problems. But those problems will actually decrease over time now. We are infiltrating again and it will likely reduce the chances of getting more of these terrorist attacks. So, another disaster in Indonesia. Let's just give them some aid. And of course we have this conflict. Well, we cannot really make a statement here because, I mean, we have an oil contract with the Democratic Republic of Congo. So it's not really advisable to speak out too much against them. Again, we have a conflict between Belarus and Poland. The Security Council seems to be getting involved in the Uganda.
In the face of the attack of which we are all victims, I am officially notifying the Security Council and the member states of our ultimatum of 72 hours. After this deadline, we will attack all hostile armed forces that have not withdrawn. We will not be intimidated. We will not give in.
Again, there will be voting. And if, of course, the majority will vote for and there is no veto against it, there will be a resolution that will allow us to actually invade, in this case, Congo, which we will not do. But I think that no one will actually come to their aid, to be honest.
The bill has been voted on and the law has been passed.
Okay, so great. So this is the agricultural budget again. So like I did also previous time, let's go for the lowest value and then hopefully that will keep it a bit low, because in general it will just increase over time a lot.
Our infiltrated agent was spotted and murdered.
So again, infiltrate. Still not going that well, I must say, with the fight against terrorism.
This pristine snow is the setting in which these athletes will now shine, whose soul aspires to nothing more than to surpass their individual limits. I wish them good luck in representing their nation with a fair play spirit and in reaching the highest steps of the podium. I declare open the Olympic Winter Games.
Okay, so the Winter Games are now ongoing. You see it has increased a lot now, it's to 43%, the agricultural budget. So, but our law has been passed, so that's a good thing. You see, the approval rating has been boosted because of that. And I think that the associations and syndicates will actually look much more kindly towards us. Well, they're not really happy yet, but it has improved our standing with them. Yeah, definitely. So at least now people are no longer that negative about our way of governing. So we have given them, besides the tax benefits, we have given them now a higher minimum wage. I think we should just leave the public wages for governmental employees as they are currently. Just freeze them. Because I fear that increasing that will actually hurt our treasury a lot.
The members of this organization are in no way involved in the attack.
Well, it doesn't matter. I want both.
Our services corroborate the information.
I want to get rid of both anyway. So this conflict is still raging. Public finance is improving. The agriculture budget has been increased. Ooh. So the ICC has actually announced that the Democratic Republic of Congo is excluded from the organization. That is one of these steps that organizations usually can make in order to
Our
react.
infiltrated agent was spotted and murdered.
So there's not much that, yeah, well, it's of course if you are the aggressor, it's logical that there will be, reactions worldwide, and kicking you out of an organization is usually one of them. Doesn't immediately have a huge effect. I mean, the ICC in any way is not really that important in the game. I think one of the most important ones is actually the World Trade Organization in a way, and NATO is important just because it's a political and military alliance, and of course you have the EU, and the United Nations, which are the two most important and special kind of organizations, as they have their own tabs even. You can also see here is, by the way, international aid that is being offered to various disasters. Like in Eritrea, we now have a disaster that just gives them 2 million. You can see our gift. So Indonesia, we have given some money, 15 million. Armenia, we have given some 5 million. Somalia, 3 million. And the rest we haven't given anything. And then you have the development aid funds, and those are actually just paid yearly to each of the states. And here you see the total economical aid that they can have.
I don't usually like smooching scenes, but I wanted to tell you that you're well regarded in the barracks. The guys would fight to the death for you, and I totally agree with them. You've got some guts.
Okay, so there's been a mandate. There is now a mandate against the Democratic Republic of Congo. Oh, this is interesting. So Peru has been accepted as a member of the Common Market of the South. That's interesting. So you can get accepted. They can accept apparently AI countries. That's nice. Okay, let's have a look at the economical situation. So inflation is now going down, as I said. It is being reset kind of, the calculation. So from now on, it will just drop again.
We have lived unforgettable emotions watching elite athletes extol the values of sport. I must admit, it is with some sadness and emotion that we close this Olympic page. And I...
Okay.
Our infiltrated agent was...
Well, it seems that Syria now declares war on Israel. So it seems we haven't done that badly at the Winter Olympic Games, because we have Sporting Victory increase our approval rating like 2%. So the Pope has died. Okay, so we became second, it seems, in the Winter Olympics. As you can see here, Austria wins the most medals ahead of the Netherlands and the United States. That is, so we perform quite well. Actually, very well. Of course, the Israel will ask the Security Council. So we can, of course, now react on this. So who was the aggressor? It's Syria. So we can break all diplomatic relations with Syria as a reaction. So Rwanda is now also in the conflict, alongside with Uganda. I think this is now a right moment to actually start improving the housing situation a bit. The stock market is improving slightly again. Natural gas exports are also improving our main production in terms of percentage in sales. Consumer electronics is increasing. So you can actually also see which industries are improving over time. So if we go to the industry tab, you see for every industry the levels that we have. So this is the current amount of money that revolves in this sector. You see it's like 16% of the total GDP activity of the country. It was, by the way, higher originally. So we are exporting a bit less. But we are also spending less money, at least, on importing stuff, which is of course those oil contracts likely. Now if we have a look at, for example, a huge industry, like this one, I think we can have, yeah. So this tab you can see the improvement over time in terms of GDP contribution of a sector within your country. So you see that the soda sector producing all kinds of soda drinks is improving a lot, even though it has a very few number of employees. And you see that other sectors are also improving. But on the other hand, there will also be sectors that are actually decreasing in size over time. For example, the housing industry is stagnant, and consumer electronics is also stagnant, and actually it's reducing in the amount of corporate tax generation that we get out of them. But so far it seems like it's not going badly. I don't see, let's have a look, no. There are not really any sectors that are shrinking in terms of employee size at the moment, but that can be in other areas. For example, in farming, you could have that. So let's have a look there. Falling by year, employees. So we see that vegetables are increasing. And these kind of foodstuffs as well. Is there anything? No, there's nothing decreasing. Okay, so in general it seems that indeed, like we know kind of, that our unemployment is going down. Maybe the service tab, there is something. So this services are in general our largest sector. It employs over 4 million of our working population, and it's increasing. So So that's good. By the way, here's the balance of trade, and that is an indication whether you import or export stuff. But you see, our approval rating is now pretty high, but we can still boost it a bit further. Ooh, Russia's getting involved. Okay. In favor of Syria.
The funeral will take place next week. Do you want to attend the ceremony?
No, I will not. I hardly know that person. So Paralympics are opening. So Russia's now intervening on behalf of Syria, which is interesting.
The funeral?
So there is a mandate now. So Russia abstained from this. You see also that there are now other countries part of the Security Council, which is like it's a kind of a relation system. So there's now a new Pope, Lando II. Popes and religious heads are not really a very important aspect in the game, I must say. Maybe for other countries it's different, I don't know, but at least for the Netherlands it doesn't seem to have much impact. And for the world in general it also doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, so crime is apparently also not going that well, so it's increasing, I think. So we should maybe also do something about that. But that's not... what's
The
this?
bile is raging. We must make a choice now. I remember that public opinion is, on the whole, in favor of our going into war alongside our ally. The ball is in your court.
Good morning. I didn't come empty-handed. In fact, I wanted to see you in order to submit this economic contract. As you will see, it is profitable for both our countries.
So cereals. You can buy some cereals. Let's do it like this. Honduras cereal contract. And we will offer them above the average market price again, because otherwise they will likely reject outright. That's not what we want. I think we should just buy everything that we can, maybe for a term of 6 years. Let's see whether they take the bait. Maybe lower this slightly. Okay, so they're willing to negotiate, so that's a good sign. We will increase it further to 130. I mean, that's still way below our average purchasing price, so that's good. As long as you are lower than that, you are pretty safe. 140. Okay, that's signed. So it's a good deal. It's 17 million euros.
Sure.
Let's see whether we can sign another deal. Maybe we can sell them something, like the sugar beets again. Oh well, maybe not. Let's just try. Maybe we can get a nice price still for them. On the other hand, I don't really want maybe to... No, let's not do it. I don't want to actually encourage that sector, because I think it's just a kind of useless sector to have. So maybe that's not really a good thing to start boosting by improving their profit. So that's also one of the things that you should actually keep in mind, that there are some sectors that you would like to boost, for example, because they are really profitable and they actually help your economy and generate huge amount of tax money. And there are also sectors that are just employing a lot of people, but they're not that profitable. In my opinion, one of the most profitable sectors in terms of a number of employees that it will hire, for each employee, kind of the highest amount of profit seems to be the soda sector. So if we can try and boost that sector a bit, that would be a good thing to do. It seems that they are already producing enough. Or we could maybe try to buy some wood. That could be something that, yeah, so they produce a decent amount of wood. We actually pay a lot currently for our wood on average. So we should try and make this deal a possibility. Now, because I initiate the negotiations, I will just go a bit lower than their average market price. Okay, so let's try to fix this for 6 years. 500 million ton at this price. So the negotiations are starting. So we will now give them like 52. 56. So we are above their average market price. Good. 60. Yeah. So we have a good deal now for wood. They will give us some wood each year. 500 million tons. And that will help our economy as well. We can try to maybe sell them some. Oh, they are producing chemicals. Okay, so that is something they don't need. The chemical industry is also one of these key industries that's actually performing quite well. We see that the oil sector is actually performing well. So we could try and sell them some fuel. That might be interesting. I don't know whether we can get the best deal out of it, but we can just try. Dutch fuel contract. Then maybe we should shorten this for a term of 2 years and maybe give them like 250,000. And we will go above their average market price. Let's hope that they will even want some of the... Yeah, they do want it. Okay, that's a good sign. So when I go to 880, okay, we will now go to 850. So they are giving in. They are, yeah. So this is a good deal because of course it's higher than our average market sell price, and it's lower than their average market buying price. So for both countries, this is now a favorable deal. It's only for 2 years, so it's easily revoked again. I don't know whether there's any more stuff that we can try and sell. Do they have oil? I don't think so. Let's see whether we can... No. They don't seem to have oil. Fish, they might have. No, well, not enough at least. Because that's also something we would desperately want to buy. Sugar? Do they have that? Yeah, they are producing sugar. So we could try and buy some sugar from them. So I could have done this all in a single contract with clauses, but it's a bit difficult to sometimes get that done because each of the items within that contract is then negotiated over, and then it's sometimes a bit difficult to keep track of the effect of, let's say, the negotiation for each of the items. So I usually just go for single trade goods agreements. Though, of course, it can be more powerful to combine them in a single trade agreement. So they are producing like 360-ish tons of 1,000 tons. And they're consuming a lot less, so we could try and to just purchase the majority of what they overproduce because we just need it. As you can see here, we're consuming much more than we actually produce, so we have to buy from somewhere else, and they are offering it at a very favorable price. So we could try and see whether this is negotiable. So they are willing, that's good. So we will now go for 425. They're dropping their price, that's good. 425, 450. Okay, they're even further dropping. 475. Ooh. So this has been signed for 4 years now. 300,000 tons each year worth this much money. So I think this is now good enough. So we have signed a couple of good, decent contracts. I think we have a comment on that now.
You have negotiated a splendid contract that will undoubtedly help improve our economy. Again, well done.
Oh, that's that sugar contract. People don't like this international meeting, and it's likely because Honduras is a controversial country in a way for the West, it seems. I don't know why, to be honest, but they don't like it. It's probably because we didn't try to convince them of the importance of respecting human rights. I think that's it. An oil slick disaster. But Norway should be able to handle that by itself. So this seems to be going well by itself. How is our debt working out? I think it's decreasing, yeah. So we're currently in, let's say, 56% of our entire GDP is now in debt. Yeah, so we didn't intervene on behalf of Israel.
Good news. Our financial performance in the last quarter shows a cash surplus. This will help us reduce our debt service. Let's keep it up.
You are giving our country a big breath of fresh air. It's really commendable.
That's all going well. And so the only thing is that with Israel we have ignored them a bit apparently. And we have left them rot in a way. And this is of course not really positive for our alliance reasons. But yeah.
One of my men succeeded.
I think we should just for now contend with that. I don't want to get involved in a war like that, with Russia especially as well. To be honest, I also don't see any of the other countries actually contributing to the war on behalf of Israel. Or am I So almost 100,000 civilians have already been killed now. Let's see, is there any news about the Israeli Syrian conflict, which involves other countries than Russia? Doesn't seem to be the case. So there's now a sit-in in Haiti. This can be one of the most dangerous things that can happen to you if you get sit-ins, because they can be very problematic to get rid of. And this can really lower your approval rating constantly. So you also have technological advancement, by the way, in the game. It's represented, I think I've shown you already in the first part of the video series. You can have these discoveries, and they can help you in improving your competitiveness for each of the sectors. And the more you invest into research, the higher the likelihood that you actually get a discovery there.
Here is our growth forecast for the end of the year based on calculations that we made last month. This is an average figure. It reflects an economy with moderate dynamism. We could do better.
Okay, but at least it's increasing compared to the previous estimation. How's inflation doing? It's dropping, of course, yeah. So that's still going the right way. What we will now do also is, by the way, start boosting our housing sector. So what I will do this always by each on a state level. So manage this region and then just go for housing construction. And I will start reducing the amount of dilapidated houses. Let's reduce it by 10,000 houses. You see, this will cost us like almost $1 billion across 5 years. But of course it's well worth it. It will also take up some of the manpower that we have. I don't think that this increases it a lot, but it will not really improve the time necessary to deal with it. So this is something we will do. So we will start the construction as of today, and the objective is now to reduce the amount of dilapidated housing by a number of 10,000 homes. It will cost us 200 million this year. But of course, again, it's a boost, and this is generally also well viewed at. It will not give you huge surges in approval rating, but it's just important for the health of your society, and I think it might actually impact also the amount of hospital visits that people will make. So here you see the comments. And of course it will improve your standing with this guy as well. And that can help you later on to call in favors during election times. Because each person that looks favorably upon you, you can ask to actually comment on your management style, your government, and thereby boost your, let's say, the chances that you get re-elected by helping out with convincing people to vote on you.
Everything has been implemented in the country to prepare for the national holiday.
Okay, so I'll make an appearance there. It's no problem. Yeah, so public finances is decreasing. Of course, we are spending some money. For the housing sector, you see that this minister is of course happy because he just got a increase in his ministerial budget to tackle the housing problem. Currently you see that housing is like 2.8% of the total expenditure of the nation. And our aim is actually to decrease the amount of unhealthy housing. Population growth is, by the way, dropping a bit, so it might be an idea to also improve the amount of hospitals that we have. Let's see, where was that again? health construction here. So here you have the several different centers that you can really build. Let's increase the amount of maternity hospitals by 4. That will also boost our improver rating.
A bomb has gone off in a public library in the town.
You see, this is also well viewed at by
In a
different
press
groups.
release, the terrorist organization have claimed responsibility for the attack.
Undeniably, you have inside you the founding values of society, such as love for family and respect for parents. May the heavens support you and your actions.
Okay, good. So now the family association is also looking favorably upon us. How is the drivers? They are neutral. Consumer, they're favorable. Yeah, of course, because of the purchasing power increases. Foreign, neutral. Solidarity should also be favorable. Yes. Self-defense, neutral, likely. I mean, we don't really have any organization that we've, let's say, made angry yet, except for the, of course, the labor organizations initially. I don't think that they will improve further in their relations with us. Not as of yet. We can try and to talk a bit with this guy again, and just to have a better relationship. He is the leader of the largest labor organization in the country, labor union. So it's exceptionally important to... Okay, so Saudi Arabia is now getting into that conflict with Uganda and Congo.
Sure. Dark and strong, please. That's the way it is. Huh. That's not to be turned down. Thank you.
Okay. So that seems to work out. It will likely not increase your relation with them now as of an immediate reaction, but it will help a bit. Don't expect huge increases just because
Members of this
talking with them.
organization are in no way involved in the attack.
Okay, so that is about who's involved. Again, we will infiltrate them. We should still keep fighting them. You see, it is decreasing a bit, so that's a good sign. They have now 600. They had 700, I think. So
My fellow countrymen and women, on this solemn day, I want to express my pride and affection. Today, while celebrating the history and genius of our beautiful country, I wish to remember what unites us rather than what divides us in order to look into the future with confidence.
okay, so this seems to be going well. So currently there's not really much that we can do, besides just continuing the game and just keeping governing the country and improving our economy. Of course, that's always a important part of governing any country.
Settle the EU Stability Pact.
What we can do, by the way, that's maybe also interesting, is order a poll to be set up. Let's see, how do I do that again? I think it was here, country or so. Here's some information. Head of state, that's it. Okay, so here we can modify our own salary, which is not... I mean, this is really one of these things that is, yeah, I don't know, doesn't really have a lot of impact on the game. It's more like how are you respected by the people? If a person like a head of state or prime minister has a low salary, some groups will actually look less favorable upon that. Mostly the right parties of the political right are more in favor of increasing the head of state's salary. On the other hand, if you have the let's say the labor kind of parties, those are actually looking more favorable, having a low spending of let's say a low income for the head of state. Here you can also change the mandate length, the amount of re-elections that you can have. This is of course not for the prime minister so important because it's unlimited. But for countries like the United States, it's more like it's a one-term extension that you can have, and thereafter you will actually get a different person that runs for office for your party, and you should try to get him elected, him or her, as the new president. And then you can continue the game in that way. So here you have also the communication text. Here you can change the personal codes around the head of state. Like yeah, this is kind of a megalomania thing. It's what the Soviet Union mostly did, trying to improve in the eyes of the public the president. You can publicize a moment, that is just to emphasize your strong ties with a certain province and a certain kind of occupation or problem. I don't know yet how important this is, to be honest. This is also one of these things that can be nice, but if you do it too often it can backfire because people find it annoying that you are constantly appearing in the news and doing this. And here we have the order a poll for from the National Census Bureau. So you can do a basic poll with voting intentions, which will just be like for each party there will be an estimation how many people will actually, or let's say what the percentage of votes they will get. But you can also do that for interest groups and associations, so it will be subdivided into the associations and how strong each association associates with your political party and supports your political party. And you can even have a detailed opinion poll of groups and associations. In groups, it's like the intellectuals, it's like the public workers, like the culture group. So people that are playing musical instruments, stuff like that. So those groups, kind of like the key figures over here, they can then be also part of that poll. So let's just do a basic poll now. So in 3 months from now we should get the information for that. And then we have the an overview of the intention of how people will vote for the next election. Well, when will that next election be? That will either be in 2016 if everything goes okay. You can, by the way, have premature elections. Sometimes that can be important. If you have the feeling that you are really winning an election, or you will win an election if it would be held right now, and other parties are of course then losing, that you want to the parties that you want to lose some votes. You can opt for the for just redoing the election right now. Personally I don't do that often, but it is something that that you can do. So the survey is being launched. But we also have the media. It's a bit limited. You can just only determine the amount of freedom, which is of course important for the newspaper messages, and privatization of the system. It is limited. I don't.
Our infiltrated scientific agents informed me that they could.
Don't consider it that important.
One of my men succeeded in infiltrating Key Center.
Okay, we will just immediately start rolling up that organization. Will not be the most beneficial thing to do, but also the risk of her getting killed is lowered. So the organization is now being dismantled. So our budget is still going strong. No problems there. Let's have a look at the economy again. So inflation is lowering. Good. That you want as, in a way in this game you want it as low as possible. So Greece is part of the conflict with Israel and Syria. How's it going actually? Does seem that Syria is slowly winning. Yeah. Yeah, Syria is slowly winning. Also just because of the aid from the Russians, I think.
Our sportsmen are ready. But if I may, a few words of encouragement before the national team's departure would surely galvanize the troops.
Our infiltrated...
Okay, so again, start infiltrating. Okay, so now in this game, we lost that last time because of the save issue, but again it seems to be that the conflict is breaking out again between Russia and
The World Cup
Japan.
will soon begin. Our team arrives at the end of its preparation and should be at the peak of their physical fitness for the first game. We will play without inhibition, and even better because we are not considered to be one of the favorite teams. Since soccer is not an exact science, who knows?
So this is generally going in the right direction. Oh, we have the stability pack. Well, let's just do 2.5%. Bit to counteract the likely increase that it will happen anyway. Yeah, it has been increased by 0.1% again. So what we well, they can take care of that themselves, I think. Shouldn't be a problem for the US. They're wealthy enough. Oh, this is the World Cup announcement.
I'm here first as a passionate soccer fan and a diehard supporter of our national team. I wish them good luck and hope to be back here for the final to see our boys become, world champions.
Yeah, right. But of course, the Netherlands was third in that in the World Cup. So it's not like we in real life performed that badly, even though we expected initially that nothing would come out of it. that we would lose already the first phase, the pool stage of the World Cup. But that didn't happen, and we actually managed to become third in the end. So apparently some countries are actually attacking Congo now.
Our infiltrated...
So these infiltrations are still not going as planned, but just keep on the pressure. No, we will not eliminate him. That's the mole that we've recruited. Let's see, how do actually the political parties look upon us now? So the Socialist Party is actually not as negative as it was before, but they're still not that positive either. Our coalition partner is getting fairly positive about us, so that's good. Same goes for the Green Left Party. This is a D66 is a kind of center leftist party that is actually quite liberal. It's a social liberal party, and they are looking very favorable on our current style of government. The CDA is a Christian right party, center right party, Christian, and they're actually looking very favorable upon us. And we have a Reformed political party, it's also a Christian party. They're also happy with our current style. Same goes for the Christian Union. And this is our own party, or at least for my head of state. So it doesn't seem that besides the Socialist Party, most other parties are actually very happy with our current style of government. So that said, I think that this would be a good time to actually stop this episode again, and hopefully I will be able to soon continue again and upload another episode of this game. I hope you guys like it. The amount of let's say tutorial stuff to tell in this episode was a bit on the lower end, just because I already covered a lot of details and issues in the previous episodes. But throughout the playthrough, I will likely come across other stuff that needs some explanation. And of course, we haven't covered elections at all yet, and that's still a long time away from our current in-game date. But when that arrives, I will also cover the elections to much more detail. Also, there hasn't been any clear view yet for the country as where we are going. It's mostly, and I think this is the most stable way to govern the country, govern any country at the moment that is doing well enough, and that is just to keep the status quo going for a while, keep everyone as happy as possible, and not make any or not much enemies at least. And here and there put a nuance, a difference, and to get some of your own, let's say, political ideas implemented. But for now, this seems to be the most effective way to actually keep people happy and to govern the country in a good manner. Don't forget that we are, as you can see here,
our financial performance in the last quarter shows a cash surplus. This will help us reduce our debt service. Let's keep it up.
So this is actually one of the prime things that I'm currently now doing and that I want to do, and that is reducing the debt, because all the money that is spent there is just lost. It's no use at all for us, and that is, I think, one of my prime goals, just to get rid of the debt as much as possible. At some point you will be entire, well, that will take time, but you will get rid of your entire debt and you will have an excess. But well, anyway, things are looking good. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them here in the comment section. And of course, if you like what I'm doing, either subscribe or post a like for this video. And with that said, hope to see you back again soon.